Hello, and welcome to US History A, Unit 1. Okay, there's a ton in this unit, and it kind of kills me because there's so much, and there's so much that I want to go through and that I want to dive deep into but unfortunately, I cannot. Lesson 1 is about European exploration. And it's really, really interesting. And if you were in my dual credit world history class, you'll know world history A class. We dive pretty deep into this, and really the reason why Europeans were exploring starting out was because they wanted to find a Northwest Passage because they wanted to get spices. Okay. Spices were a big deal. And, the food in Europe at the time was pretty bland. And they wanted to get spices so that they could make it a lot better. And so that's what they were trying to get. But unfortunately, instead of just making a quick trip to India, they accidentally bumped into America on their way. Okay. So for your first discussion, you are going to go through this article right here that's talked about on your guide, and it discusses um, Native Americans and were there horses in the native culture before the settlers came. Okay. And this is kind of a big deal for Native Americans. All right. And your discussion goes through it and talks about the thesis, talks about the backup. Um, and there's definitely some bias here. Okay. And so I want you to go through this article and see what you can find. And then you're going to do some discussion questions about the article as well. So that is discussion 1. Okay. So now back to this. So yeah, European exploration was a big deal. And it talks a lot about kind of the clash of cultures and what was happening and stuff. Okay, so then we had the New World, okay? And this is where we get introduced um, the into the new colonies that were started in the New World. So Jamestown, Virginia, New England, middle colonies, and kind of what all happened there. So Jamestown was started, and the reason that it did well was because of tobacco. And then New England was started with Massachusetts, and you'll learn about the Puritans in New England and what they were going for. They came over for religious reasons, which was kind of interesting. And then you'll learn about the middle and the southern colonies as well. Okay, and so with this, I want you to start working on your project for Unit 1. And really, you could finish it right here and then have it all ready to go. Okay, so here is your project. What I want you to do is I want you to put together a colonial infographic about a colony. Okay, so you need to decide on a colony, just one colony, and tell me about the characteristics of your colony in relation to the other colonies in colonial America. So you're going to have a quick introduction, not very long, okay? You're going to tell me about the government. This should be like 3 to 5 sentences, okay? Tell me about what's the basis? Why did we settle? How is it governed? Stuff like that. And then go through the economy, another 3 to 5 sentences, and tell me how we make money in this colony, because that's kind of a big deal. Okay. Each colony needs to make money. And then tell me about the society, which a big part of society is religion. Okay, so make sure that you tell about the society, tell whether we have slaves or not, stuff like that. Okay, and then you need to compare. This is the big deal right here, is to compare. Okay, so remember that if you choose one of the New England colonies, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, then you need to compare it to the middle colonies and the southern colonies. Okay? The middle colonies are New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. And the southern colonies are Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. So just make sure that you compare those colonies. Okay? I will give you a few resources. So yeah, here's a bunch of resources that are listed. A really good resource, resource is to go to World Book Student through Lilly, lilly.org. Okay. And the cool thing about World Book Student is that, for example, I searched for the colony of New York. All right. And it brought me to New Netherland. And so it gives you some information about New Netherland. And then it has how to cite this article right here. Okay. So I would just copy that and paste it. Okay. Very, very cool. I recommend using Canva to make your project, just because then that would help you to just make it very succinct. Okay. I've made a template for you to do. Okay. And it's pretty easy. All right. So on my information, you should have all of that information as well. Okay. So back to here. All right, so that's about the colonies. And like I said, you can finish this project. It's not very hard. And then you're done, and it's awesome. Okay. Lesson 3 is about conflict in the colonies. It talks about the First Great Awakening, French and Indian War, the Albany Plan of Union, taxation. If you look at this is conflict in Boston with the massacre and the Tea Party. This is what was written about the Boston Massacre. It wasn't really like this. This is definitely propaganda to make you think about how it was. But propaganda's there, guys. It's a real thing, okay? And then we talk about the revolution begins. This is another piece of propaganda. Guys, it's so thick in this situation right here, okay? And you'll learn about the influences of the Enlightenment. You'll learn about a bunch of battles and stuff like that. Pretty cool stuff, okay? And then the last lesson 5 is on independence, and here's the writing of the Declaration of Independence. That of course took place more at the beginning of the revolution, because we needed the help from France, and so that's why we wrote the Declaration of Independence. And so that's really interesting. Okay. And so then you're going to turn in your project and take your exam. And for the next unit, we will learn about how America was formed and what happened with all of that too. Anyway, if you have any questions, please let me know, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.